So this was a requested episode. So I'm going to dive right into what is mindset. First, you have to know, what do you want to set your mind on? Mindset is the ability to take your mind and bring it into submission. Our mind is always out there, always thinking. If you really understand the way that the mind works, it's gathering evidence, it's painting pictures, it's storing evidence for later in order to protect or to prevent. And so, first, you have to just understand what. What is the mind doing? What is the intention? What's included in mindset? That awareness has to come first. If our brain is a mechanism, it is like a machine. The mind is gathering evidence to support or to protect or to prevent. Think of this as two different parts of the brain of the mind. Like we have the conscious, the subconscious, but just for today's, like I want to focus on, how do you change your mindset? How do you control what you think in order to get what you want? Or how do you control what you think in order to prevent what you don't want? The mind is like a magnet of what it brings into your world, into your experience, into your life. If you are following feelings and you're feeling nervous or anxious or afraid, your mind is going to make up stories around why you're feeling that way. And it's not always true. So, this is what's tricky about mindset. Let's first understand, what do you want to set your mind on? You have to first set a target. What do you want? What do you want to have in your life? What do you want to create? What do you want to change? So let's take a minute and do that first. What do you want to set your mind on so that you can go and get it? That's number one. Now that you know what you want, you have to understand when you lose that. Let's just use an example. You want to lose 50 pounds. That's the mindset. My intention is set on getting that. If you can control the mind and keep it in submission, your brain will give you exactly that, because it's a machine. It will give you what you believe. Your brain is a dumbass. It believes everything you tell it because it's not really prejudiced. It's not really judgmental. It's just a mechanism. Part of us, part of our meat suit, part of what we're created from, pick up your left arm. That your brain did that. It moved the muscles, it moved your body. And so your brain it's like the motor of the car. It just does what you tell it. You put it in drive, it goes in drive. The mind is the thought, and where the thought is coming from is the mindset, the beliefs, the experiences. Crazy. It's crazy. It's simple, and we tend to complicate it. But let's just look at it as, you can create whatever you want according to what you believe, according to what you think, and according to what you do. Super simple. I want to lose 50 pounds. Boom. Me, my mind, my brain are all on board. And now we take action to lose 50 pounds. I want to lose 50 pounds. And this is what I'm going to do to get that target. I'm going to increase activity. I'm going to decrease food intake. I'm just going to keep it simple. You do whatever you do when it comes to weight loss, but I just want to use this as the easiest example. Reduced 500 calories, increase exercise by 350, like just some kind of exchange. And you write that down and then you just do it. This is super simple. You decide, you do, then you document. Most people miss this part because they don't want to document. It's a resistance. The mind's got stories around writing something down as if it's hard. We just fight it, right? It's like not wanting to get out of bed to exercise, not wanting to not eat the cake. We don't want to be uncomfortable. And writing it down, taking the time, the discipline to write it down is uncomfortable. You decide, I want to lose 50 pounds. You create the recipe for you, and then you document every single day. This is what I ate. This is how I moved. This is how many calories I took in. This is how many calories I burned through movement, extra calories. So that's it. You just write it down every single day. At the end of 7 days, you get on the scale and then you minus 1 pound, minus 2 pound, plus 1 pound, whatever the result is. Super simple, right? So this is like how you play the game with mindset. Determine, document. Then you get the data and dissect it. Like, what did I do? When did I blow it? When did I do it right? What were the results? So that you can detect what you need to change and determine what to keep doing and what to quit doing. Super simple. Everybody's on board? Just say yes to yourself. Yes, I understand. So, in order to get what you want, you have to first put your mind on it, decide that you want it. And then the third step that a lot of people miss is you have to start taking action towards it. And then you need to document. Why do you need to document? Because your mind is a liar and it's going to tell you it's not working. It's not worth it. It's going to come up with lots of excuses to support why it hasn't happened yet. And that's what you need to be careful about. And that is why mindset is so important. So that's the recipe for how to get results. Decide what you want, do the protocol, the process. Document that you did it so that your brain can get the dopamine hit so that you'll want to continue to do it. And then you want to measure with the data what worked, what didn't work. And then boom, you're on your way to lose 50 pounds. As long as you keep doing this, you'll get there. But here's the problem. If you don't have your mindset dialed in, you will decide and then you will determine what you need to do. And then you will get distracted because your mind will go into the files and tell you a story why it's so hard, why it doesn't work. And then it's going to start looking at social media. It's going to start trying to find the worst case scenarios. And then you're going to be in a spin cycle. You will do random things. Then you'll start thinking, but you're going to be thinking about why it's not working instead of thinking about what you need to be doing for it to work. And so then you will get distractions instead of results. And these distractions will cost you time and misery and dissatisfaction. That's typically why we decide to lose the weight to start off with, because all of that stuff was happening. There's a time in your life where you lost weight. You know how to do it. And until you're in awareness and you're willing to dial the mindset in and follow the protocol or the process or the recipe and document it, all these parts need to happen because we cannot trust the mind because it tells us lies. It gathers evidence to paint a picture of how we used to be or why we think it won't work. And as simple as this is, it is so hard. It's so hard. So that is why this, how do I change my mindset, was recommended. So here's how you do it. First, you have to start noticing when you are untrue to yourself. You have to become aware of the lies that you tell yourself, of the deception, of the resistance, of the frustrations. If you don't document, then you're going to believe the loop, the lies, the spinning, the story. And we do this to ourselves. And I believe the reason we do it to ourselves is we are afraid of success. We do not believe we are worthy of having what we want. There's this fight between your soul, your higher self, right? This part of you that is capable of everything you can imagine. Your soul is connected to limitlessness. You can have what you desire, but you have to believe it and be worthy of receiving it. So that's one aspect. It's the higher thinker. There is this higher form of thinking. And it's when you're in belief, positivity, you're in a great attitude, and your mind is gathering evidence of how this can be true for you. And it's going to find people that have done it. It's going to find success stories. It's going to get you in the right rooms with the right support and communities. And you just got to stay in that momentum with your mind planted on the belief. I know I can do this. I know I can have this. I have so much evidence. And I'm following the protocol, documenting and gathering the data and dissecting the data to see what worked, what didn't work. And I'm going to stay on board. I'm not going to let anything get in my way. That is the mindset that you want to adopt. But what happens instead, if we don't have discipline around the mindset, if we're not completely committed to the target or the decision we made, the weakness of the mind, the inability to hold the discipline and the management of the mind will start to play tricks with you. And instead of looking at what works and who's doing it and how to do it and lean on that support and raise your hand when you start feeling doubt and go through the fear and the discomfort, instead of doing that because it's uncomfortable, the mind finds someone or something else that's in agreement with us not being able to have what we want. It's really sad. We watch this all the time in the coaching world. And then they try to make coaching the bad thing, but coaching's not the bad thing. The inability to manage the mind and bring it into submission of what the soul desires. And they get the brain on board to take the actions and document so that you can see the results, so that you can know that it's working, so that you can get the validation and affirm that it is working and confirm that it is working and staying firm in the decision that you made until you get the results, until you get the win, until you can have what you want. It's like loose thinking. You know what I mean? You say you're going to go to the gym, you're going to work out, you're going to get fit, and then you give into this discomfort. You give into these lies and you don't do it. You don't wait until you feel like it, and you give into the discipline. You're always giving in to the distraction or the discipline. That is what is determining your outcome. Are you distracted or are you disciplined? Did you get off the rails or are you on the rails? Did you stay in the game or did you go in the dugout or just walk completely off the field and away from the game? So that's the power of mindset. Mindset is the ability to bring your thoughts into submission with your soul's desire and stay on track so that you can put discipline in place so that you can stay diligently in the game, in activity, without distraction until you hit the target. I hope this was helpful. Just know that it takes radical responsibility to see it and call yourself out. And if you do not have awareness in your field and can't see it happening, you are going to believe the negative mind. You're going to believe what you're seeing, but you can't see that you're the one who gathered the evidence of it according to what you were believing inside. So tricky. I don't think I would be able to do this if I didn't have coaching, if I didn't find coaching or still have coaching today. I just don't think I would be able to see when I was off the tracks, when I got distracted, went into the woods. Imagine you're on a train ride and you're going to stop 38, but at stop 2, you're like, oh, that looks interesting. That would be easier. That would be funner. And you get off the train And then you go play around in this town or in the woods or wherever. And then you find out, no, that's not it. You get back on the train, you go a few exits, and then dang it, you get off on the next stop or two stops later and you do it again and do it again. It's just going to take you longer. Just know when your mind is in submission with what you want, that it is set on the results and on the actions that are going to get you there. And that is the ticket. That is the pass. That is what you're looking for. But if you're not documenting it to get the data, it's going to lie to you and it's going to keep you exactly where you are because that's the nature of the mind. There's conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And we cannot see our own blind spots, and that includes me. We cannot see. When we're in that dissonance, it feels very real, especially when we have emotional reaction to it, because then we know it's a belief and it's in our nervous system and neural pathways. That's when we get in that hook, we get in that spin and see it as reality. It takes skill and competency to hold someone in that position until it blows. The limited beliefs, the barriers will blow. You'll get relief and they'll move through you, and then you'll be back into rational, logical thinking. But while you're in it, you will fight, you will argue, you will be defensive, you'll be like a wasp, like a mad bull, because you're in the reactive mind, you're in reactivity, in this emotional upheaval brought on by this limited belief, and it creates this barrier. It's tough. It's really hard to be the coach. It's really hard to be the client, but harder to be the coach that sees it and can't get the client to see it because the resistance is so strong. They come up against a wall. They can't listen. They can't hear. They get defensive. They stay victim. It doesn't work for me. It's your fault. Anybody who is a coach has come up against this. The coach has to also have the proper mindset. You committed to this. You asked for this. We knew it would be tough. Why do you want to quit? Like, do you have an answer for that? Is it because of the discomfort? Is it because of the disbelief? Is it because there's someone whispering in your ear? Is it because there's someone planting doubts? Is it because you haven't been successful yet and it's taking too long? Like, why? Why do you want to quit? Why do you want to get out of this commitment? That's the tough part about coaching, because they will come at you and they will be the victim. We're not dealing with the person's higher self. We're dealing with this charge that's on them. We're dealing with these barriers. And that's what I believe makes personal development so hard. Because when you're committed and you're standing firm, you're able to stay in the discomfort and they are not. It's kind of disheartening, right? They make coaching bad or make the coach bad. If that is you as a coach, just know it's about drilling, training, staying in, and coming back to your intention. If your intention was to help heal the planet, if your intention was to help empower people, we're going to create adversary just because of the intention. It's going to be there. It's the thing that we're at war with. And it's okay. Not everyone is going to get results. Not everyone is going to love you. Not everyone has the ability to stay in. They'll get it when they get it. And sometimes they're just going to go part way with you and maybe part way with someone else. It would be great if we had an assembly line of coaches and we all had different specialties. Because what happens is once you get this mindset and you start to understand it, very often as a coach, you will eventually use that device against yourself, and you'll use coaching against yourself. And that's when you make coaching a bad thing. I've done it. I know plenty of people who've done it. I know coaching communities that have gone down because of it. And I have for sure had my fair share of it. But mindset is the most important. I know this podcast is called More Than Mindset, and it is more than mindset. It's about awareness. It's about action. It's about neurology, which is like your meat suit and the way the body reacts and responds. It's about understanding the brain, the conscious and the unconscious mind. So it is more than mindset, but mindset is the piece. Strong-willed mind is going to get you the results that you want, but just know you are going to be at battle with all these other thoughts, beliefs, experiences, people, stories, and social media and distractions. Just know that you're in the game, and then raise your hand and ask for help. Talk to someone that you can trust. Be very careful about anybody who's going to feel sorry for you or give you sympathy or take up with the victim story. You got to be careful about that, because once it gets validated, you get hooked in that, and then you will spend a lifetime stuck in this cycle. So I hope this was helpful for you to really understand what is mindset, how to change your mindset, and then how to practice the discipline once you decide. It's a really intense focus. So you got to keep pulling the mind back to the target, back to belief, and back in action. I think the secret to this is the documentation and the data, so that you have the evidence, so that you have the proof. Because over here, you're collecting the evidence and proof of how it's not true, it's not real, and you can't have it. So now you need to counteract and gather the evidence and the truth of the people who have done it and the evidence that you are doing it. So that's a big piece of mindset. All right. Have an amazing week. And if you want to know more about mindset, how to increase your capacity to believe and discipline and stay in the game so that you can create what you want, then check out one of our belief boot camps. We have these coming up periodically. We also have replays of past ones if you wanted to get access to it ASAP and you don't want to wait for the next live event. Make sure you give us a rating and review and share this podcast with family and friends who might also be interested. Maybe you're a coach and your clients can listen to this in order to validate what you're telling them about mindset. Use this as a resource to support yourself and that client. We're not in competition, guys. We all have the same intention. We're all here to help improve the planet, to improve mankind, so that we can have a better life, so we can leave legacy, so our family can have better opportunity once we're gone. All right. Have a good week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.